Hello and welcome back to part 2 of our retro refurb. This was definitely the more difficult part of the refurbish. The first part is like cleaning and breaking down of things and taking out the hair that's already there. And here we're actually having to reroot the hair, which was much more difficult than I had ever expected. Well, first of all, my rerooting tool is not my favorite tool in the world. I kind of want to kill it. But with a lot of patience, I was able to get some of these tufts of hair into the actual mane. So basically the rerooting tool is almost like a little hand drill, except for you have put in it looks like a needle, but the end of it is actually open. So rather than having a closed eye at the end of the needle, it's open. And you can put some hair into that opening and shove it into a hole. But of course, the needle is fragile, and I broke about 3 or 4 of them doing this. This took way longer than I expected. And hopefully I will gain some more skill as I do it in the future. So I'm going to do the rest of the rerooting off of camera because it takes a lot of concentration and I was getting very frustrated. So I decided to turn the camera off and just take my time and do it. This next part was exceedingly easy. And this is just putting the tail in. So I just took a hank of the hair and I zip tied it. And then I pulled the zip tie through the hole. And at first it didn't look like it was going to go. It's a little bit bigger than the hole, but with a little bit of forcing, it actually worked quite well. And you'd have to really force if you wanted to try to pull it back out. So that worked out really well. In this next bit, I think I made a mistake. So I've seen doll customizers do this with their doll hair before when they want it to sit more flat. I thought I wanted my mane to sit more flat. However, I think I was wrong. I don't think I do want it to sit more flat. So in the future, I may or may not do this step. But basically, I took some hot water from my kettle and I poured it over the mane. And it did work. It did make it sit more flat, but I kind of like it being up better. Coming out of the mane better. So you live and learn. Here I decided that now we have the hair in, the cutie mark looks incredibly dull and lifeless. So I actually had some opalescent sheen acrylic paint in about the right shade of purple. So I took my detail brush and I decided to repaint the stars. You probably can't see it, but there's actually a moon there in the center. I didn't have a paint necessarily that worked for that, but I did end up replacing it with a top coat that is a glitter top coat, because basically all it is some glitter rather than having a pigment in there. And so I ended up doing that as well. What you're not going to see and I didn't get on camera, is me struggling with the mane. So after I had done this, and I thought this was going to be the most difficult part, painting back on the details. However, what really ended up being the most difficult part was dealing with the mane. I ended up trimming it because it was extremely long. I ended up trimming the bangs too short, and I ended up rerooting that again a second time, which was a struggle. I broke another needle during that time. And I got out the blow dryer. I tried to put some curl into it. It's still not where I want it to be, but I'm not a hairdresser by any means, so at some point maybe I'll go back and redo the hair, at least the styling of it. But for now, I'm going to say that she's done, so I can start up on my next project. And there she is. I hope you had fun, guys. See you next time.